Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have Big Blue Raggg. What up, man?
What's up, bro?
Oh, man. Thank you for joining the program, dude.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. You definitely got some dope music that I got a chance to listen to over the last couple of days. So I want to get into that, but I definitely want to go all the way back, man, get to know you, and then talk a little bit of hip-hop as well. There's a lot going on, some crazy shit
Okay.
in this hip-hop world, man. But
Yeah.
let's take it all
Yeah.
the way back, man. Tell everybody where you grew up.
Okay, I grew up in Duarte, California, in the San Gabriel Valley, Los Angeles County. 20 minutes from downtown LA. Like everything else in Los Angeles County, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, for the people, who from different, out of town and out of state that, across, wherever, across the world that don't know. But it's the greater LA, but the city of Duarte is where I grew up.
Tell everybody what your upbringing was like, man.
It was, up until I got, I came to Duarte actually at 10 years old. Prior to that, I moved around a lot because my mother was in the army. So, I started in St. Louis. I was born in St. Louis. I first came to LA when I was 5. I lived in South Central. I lived on St. Andrews, right off Slauson when I was 5 years old with family members. I stayed there for about a year. Then they sent me back to St. Louis. Then my mom went to the Army and she was stationed in San Antonio, Texas. We lived there for about a year or two. And then moved to Hawaii for a year, Honolulu, Hawaii. And then we came back to California. And that was at the age of 10. That's when I moved to Duarte. I went to from 6th grade all the way, to middle school and high school and all that right there in Duarte.
Okay. What was it like as a kid moving around so much? Did you enjoy it? Was it hard? I mean, were you able to,
I really didn't. Because it was I was already kind of, even like I was already, I guess, kind of awkward because I was kind of like advanced, like mentally. I was kind of I felt out of place because I was like a super smart kid.
Okay.
So with that, I don't know, so I always somebody ended up trying me somehow, and I ended up fighting a lot. And then moving around, you always a new kid, so you're gonna fight.
Yeah.
And then especially when I went at one time. When I lived in Texas for a short time, me and my sister went to an all-white school. We were literally the only black kids at the school. We fought every single day. But we didn't lose no fights, though. It was fun, actually, but that was crazy. We was like, what was you thinking? Like, asking our mom, you tripping, Mom? We got to get up out of here. She like, yeah, y'all right. We got up out of there. We moved out of there. Okay. Went to another school, but as far as moving around, it wasn't too easy to adjust. So I kind of like relate to every kid or anybody younger than me that I come across. However they come across me, however they when they look at me, I always tell them about that. How I can relate to that. They never liked it as a kid, as far as moving a lot. But I found home when I went to Duarte. Like I fell in love. I was like, I don't know. It's almost like. I can't even explain it. It was so crazy the way it felt when I moved there. Like the way I felt embraced immediately.
That's what's up. All right, so 9 years old, you moved to Duarte.
10.
Okay, 10. You start going to school there. What was your experience like? I know you said you felt embraced, you liked it.
Like my first day, like when I immediately learned about the gang culture in my first day in the 6th grade. I went to my elementary school, which was right across the street from where I lived, from the condominiums I lived in. It was apartments, or they call them condominiums, but whatever. I lived right across the street from the school. So anyway, my first day of school, moving in a Crip neighborhood. I didn't know anything about Crips and Bloods. I was, at the time, it was in the mid 80s. I was 1985, and so I had on all red. That's when the first Air Jordans came out, 85.
Ooh.
The first Jordan. I had the whole Jordan fit, all black and red, and they was like telling me like why I was wearing it, and like why you got that dead on. I didn't know what they was talking about. What are you talking about? Like, I didn't know. I was like super just ignorant to the gang culture at the time. But my brother had told me. My brother was a blood. you know what I mean, from LA, from the city, you know what I mean, from BNG. And so he had told me when we first, he like, man, you can't be one, because I used to break dance before we moved out here. I was really into break dancing. And I used to wear all those bandanas. He like, man, you can't be having that, y'all. And I didn't really understand. I was just a kid. He got all those colors out here, you know. And that's the '80s. It was really bad at the time. The gang thing. It was really serious. Like, so I quickly adapted. But anyway, so I ended up running into a couple of my boys. We was like I said, we in the 6th grade. You know what I mean? So we 10, 11, 10 going on 11. My birthday was in the summer, so I was 10. You know what I mean? They probably was like 11 anyway. And they was like, that one thing that led to another. It led to me fighting them, both of them. I took off on them. You know what I mean? We started fighting. And they ended up becoming like my brothers, man. My best friend, you know what I mean? My best friend, that's like my brothers. And they immediately like just put me up on everything. Like, yeah, this is that and this and that. We wear this color, we say this and this and that. Just started taking me around. I was just like, wow. Like, it was just phenomenal to me. You know what I mean? As a 10-year-old kid, it was just like a shock. Like, it was crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know what people be like when they come in as an adult or later on in the game. But me coming out here as a kid in the '80s, yeah, it was crazy. It felt different.
Yeah, '80s, '90s, crazy time.
Yeah, '80s. You know, that's my era. Like, you know, mid '80s to the '90s. That's it.
Yeah. What was Duarte like back in the '80s?
Back then, it was like predominantly black. You know what I mean?
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a whole different Duarte from the Duarte now. It's like a whole different. It don't even look the same. It don't look the same, feel the same. Yeah, it was predominantly black. You know what I mean? It was black-owned businesses. It was real family-oriented. Wow. Everybody was either, if not related, everybody knew each other. Like, everybody knew each other's grandmother. You know, from they grandmothers grew up. You know, everybody grandparents grew up in the South together, and like it was a place like that, a real family-oriented. You know what I mean? Like small town type of values, but like radical, like violence. You know what I mean? At the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know Duarte was mostly black at one point.
Yeah, and then being that, you know, we in the valley and everything else around us wasn't all the way, like, you know, we got Pasadena, Duarte. It was Pasadena, Duarte, and Pomona. You know what I mean? That's where all the blacks was. Everything else was, you know, always, you know, blended. Yeah. You know, racially. How the valley is, but by us being in the valley, so, and being how we were being in that area, so it was kind of crazy. There was a lot going on, man. A lot.
Okay.
A lot that a lot of people don't even expect. Everything that was going on in Compton and Watson was going on right there. Everything. Exactly.
Okay. So, all right, 10 years old, you meet your crew, you feel embraced. When did you decide to join ROC?
Yeah, immediately. It was just like a natural thing, instantly. It was like as soon as they took me around the older ones, you know what I mean, the ones that started it, which was like, you know, it was still fairly new at the time. You know, they were young themselves now, you know, but they were a lot older than me. The guys that started it and that was there from day one, you know what I mean? But when I went around them, the way they embraced me, I mean, initially I was intimidated by them, of course. They're very intimidating. But you know, I liked it. I always liked it. That's I always like a natural born rebel. I always liked it, like bad shit. No matter what, I chose the negative stuff in my life. I actually chose. I made the negative things that happened to me. I'm the one that manifested. That's why I'm manifesting positive things now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
about. Because I chose the streets. I didn't have to. You know what I mean? I didn't have to do that. Like my mom wasn't on drugs or nothing. Like she worked hard. Like she took care of me. Like I was actually spoiled, and I was spoiled. I was super smart. Like I could have did anything, but I chose the streets and the gang life. Cause like I said, the way I was embraced, and of course, like the same old story, like we always get lack of a father figure.
Yeah.
Or male role models in the house.
Yeah, you haven't mentioned Dad once, so I'm assuming Pops wasn't around.
Nah, he wasn't around since I was 3, and then my brother, he was like a father figure, being that my dad raised him, and my brother is 9 years older than me. But he had left to the Army about time when I started really getting into the streets. That's when he was already listening to the Army. Like I said, he was 9 years old. So I'm 10, he's 19. He's going in the Army. Because he was, like I said, he was a blood in South Central, and he was gangbanging everyone, his entire crew, his whole, like 20 people that he hung with every day that he grew up with literally all got killed.
Damn.
So my mom convinced him to go to the Army. Like, man, you gonna who you want? What are you doing? All your friends are dead, literally. Like, I mean, literally, bro. Every time I hear that little Uzi song, that all my friends are dead, I really think about my brother because that's literally him. So he went once he went to the Army, and you know I'm stuck. It's just me now. So that's how I was turned to the streets. That's why I was like so infatuated with Do Rock instantly.
Yeah. And mid '80s, Do Rock was a fairly, like you mentioned, I think you mentioned earlier, they were a fairly young gang, new gang. Is that safe to say?
Yeah. They were all
Talking about like mid '70s, it was established. What does it say?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I'm coming around mid '80s, a decade later. Because all the guys that like started, they're a decade older. They're like 9, 10 years older, 8, 9, 10 years older.